Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Welcome to episode number 122 of the BOF Social Hour. This is a Batman on Film podcast, batman-on-film.com. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Ramey. That's who I am. Y'all know I'm the founder of Batman on Film. Ron Lauer, Pete Verra, senior BOF contributors.
Hack.
Yeah, I am that too. I am.
20 plus years of bullshit.
It is 25. Hey, 25. Let's be at 25 years of bullshit. A quarter century of bullshit. How about that? How about that, boys? How are y'all?
That? Quarter century. That sounds good. That's a t-shirt.
y'all?
That's t-shirt worthy.
It is.
We're doing
doing
good.
well.
Batman on Film, a quarter century of bullshit. How about that?
That's your next t-shirt.
That's
Yep.
the next t-shirt.
All right, Justin, get on it, sir. All right.
No F's left to give. 25 years of bullshit.
Yeah. Yes. So how's everybody?
Well, I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
Flash aside.
I mean, that may be doing what it's doing. Bill, I think we can check the receipts because people love to keep receipts these days, right? Isn't that the cool lingo? If I told you, like, at this point with the movie and it was before it came out, I just care if I like it or not, and then continue on with my day. So
yeah,
I'm doing swell.
Yeah. Well, good.
I'm actually building a 4,000 piece Lego Batcave.
Is that how many pieces it is? 4,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's like 3,980 or something like that. So I mean,
You keep
let's round
inventory on every piece, like as you build it, you're going, I'm down. I've put in 1,621 pieces and I have this
That'd be
many
insane.
left. Or you just
No.
kind of block it all out and go.
I just go. Yeah. And so my stopping point on this. So Haas has it too, and he got started before I did.
Oh, you guys are both doing it.
Yeah. And
Wow.
there's 4 books in it. And I progressed through book 1. So that's how I keep track of where I'm at. Is
Okay.
through that, or like bags, because there's like numbered bags inside or whatever. But
Yeah.
the have you seen the pictures of it when Lego announced it, Bill?
What the Batmobile? Is that what it is?
The Bat Cave.
Batcave.
The Batman Returns Bat
yes.
Cave. Yeah. I think it's a really cool,
yes.
really cool set. So I told myself after I put together the 89 Batmobile earlier this year, I was like, maybe I'll just like stop on the big stuff. And then they announced this. And I'm like, well, dadgummit. Got me again.
Awesome.
I don't have the patience for Lego.
I don't know if I
relaxing.
have either. If you can tell I'm not most patient person in the world. I don't know if y'all knew
What?
that.
Pew, pew.
I will
Yeah.
say, look here. I've got some of these coloring books from Inside Editions. They were nice enough to send Batman on Film. I'm gonna be giving these away as part of each month's BOF 25th anniversary. So
Nice.
T-shirt, coloring book, maybe some BOF buttons and stickers.
Inside
too.
Edition comes out with some nice stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
This
that too. Like, I like Inside Editions. They do some unique publishing.
This
The
is
Farrago
DC
book, wasn't
yeah.
that an Inside Editions?
It was, yeah.
That was a
This
monster
is
of a Batman
DC
book.
Mm-hmm.
DC Supervillains, the official coloring book, and of course you got Harley
Mhm.
colored, and in the background you've got Luthor, Joker, Catwoman.
Is
And
it just
so-
coloring, or is there like some sort of story that goes along
No,
with it?
it's all coloring. See,
That's interesting. I never would have thought they'd do a coloring book.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So I'll be giving some of these away. Just want to throw that out there. So stay tuned for. I got 3 days left of this month, and I'll start these up in July. So there'll be another t-shirt giveaway here in June. All right. That's because BOF is 25 years of bullshit. We're celebrating that. Yes.
Making up
All
everything.
Right. All right. Let's see what else. It's over with down here. I'm going to tell you because we're entering the part where it's like next 10 days is 100+ degrees. And
no gumbo for a while.
No.
Too hot for gumbo.
No gumbo. All vichyssoise because it's cold.
A lot of Batman Returns love today.
Yeah, you've just got to freaking eat everything. Everything has to be cool or cold.
Secretly, Bill, he's like, Pete. Bill's watching Batman Returns when he's alone, and he's just like watching. Like, I just don't understand how Pete and Lauer love this so much. I just don't get it. Trying to figure out why they like it. Vichyssoise about it. That's kind of maybe Vichyssoise. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna get on a long weather kick today because we got a lot to talk about. If y'all didn't know, The Flash is a massive flop, bomb, whatever adjective you'd like to use to describe how bad it is in so many levels, not just financially. But he's seen it,
but everyone's talking about it.
Yes.
The Flash.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Let's put the money aside. It may go down as the biggest comic book movie bomb relative to cost and money taken in ever. And that's saying a lot because there's been some bad comic book movies, but and this is going to lead into what we're going to talk about is future of DC on film, and then of course future of Batman on film, which is that last one is on way more solid ground than the rest. But this hurts. This is what a lot of people are not getting, I don't think, is that it really hurts. Two things. It hurts. It shows where the DC on film brand is right now.
There isn't one.
Okay. The general audience doesn't care. Couldn't care less. And then also it being so bad, and then it's, everyone knows, the Flash, even if people who didn't see it, you hear that, the Flash, that was a huge bomb. That's bad for what's next. Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2, bless their hearts. Good luck.
Well, to be honest, it hasn't started with the Flash. It seems like everything since Black Adam has been.
Yeah, I mean, horrible. I was talking with Lauer before.
Been a trend.
Before you jumped on, you could see it coming, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, what's been the biggest hit they've had in the last Joker and freaking the Batman in the last 4 years?
Yeah. So critically and financially.
Yeah.
Probably.
What do they have in common? Anyway. A couple things. Batman and they're not part of a shared universe. But I'll digress right there. Lauer, just I know we did our postmortem last week and we've had the autopsy, but just any thoughts about that? Not just the Flash, but just everything peripheral around it.
Yeah, because I mean, on here, like you just said, we did our postmortem. We don't need to beat a dead horse. I mean, everybody knows the movie is a bomb, unfortunately. A bit of a bummer because I like the movie. Again, check the receipts. We all liked the movie. Like we did, period. And it just didn't work. So moving on, but like in thinking of the overall picture, I think many people can get caught in this bubble of the superhero bubble and DC bubble and just like, gosh, it's always Batman. And it's like, well, don't be mad at DC for going to Batman because apparently people don't want the other superheroes. Like Batman's that's the one that people like and people gravitate toward. And then they did with Joker. You have an outlier in Aquaman. We'll see how well that holds up. And then Wonder Woman, I think, is I don't know how to word it, in like almost like the next property of theirs that's pretty damn valuable that apparently the general audience had interest in. And that was a big hit. In Wonder Woman, I mean, I know we'll get into this a little bit more too, of Wonder Woman was, I feel, barely connected to other stuff.
Yeah.
Aside from a letter and then Wayne Enterprises on the side of a vehicle. It was its own thing.
I was always curious if Wonder Woman would have made $1 billion if she wasn't in BVS for like the hot second.
And then Aquaman itself, a line from Mira.
Yeah.
Where she said Steppenwolf, and then that was it. So it's just like, I don't know. But I know we're gonna get into this, but the peripheral is just like read the evidence, get out of your bubble, don't get all riled up and pissed off because reality isn't what you want. It's okay to just be like, yeah, it's disappointing, but right now it just seems like overall DC universe is not in great shape, but Batman is. So
DC on film is the lowest it's ever been. I mean, before there even was DC, it's in terrible shape. Like I said before, dead brand.
This is comparable to Batman and Robin. You know,
it's worse. It's worse than Batman and Robin.
It's fairly comparable.
Yeah, I think it's.
Can you expand on that a little bit on like how it's worse, just so that anybody who might be wondering like how is it worse than Batman and Robin, which for some reason still has a stigma attached of like
the Batman and Robin actually made money. It actually made money.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's kind of all you really need to say.
You know, the fact, you know, people, it opened relatively big. Then people, you know, word of mouth was, oh, this is, you know, it is what it is. But it still made money because on the strength of what came before and the fact it was Batman.
People went to check it out. That's the thing. Like, people at least went to see Batman and Robin. They decided they didn't like it. And then word of mouth took its place. Like, no one even bothered going to see the Flash and caring what anybody thought. Like,
didn't care.
Outside of fans, like, let's be honest, like that's all fan money. You know, your fan, you bring a friend or whatever, like your general, like no one without like a hardcore fan probably went to see this movie.
I know people complained about, oh, they should have had, 10,000 freaking early screenings. And I'm like, you know who went to those early screenings?
The same people who bought tickets.
And they went and saw opening weekend too. So, I mean,
and you had them at the hook because those early screenings didn't have George at the end. So when they find out there's an extra cameo they didn't see, you know, those fans are going to see the movie because then they have to go, let's be honest, because we all do it. Then we all have to go back on our own podcast and talk about it.
Yeah. Pete, any not to get into the, like, again, get in the postmortem and the autopsy, but just the fallout, what's, you know, from where you sit, what's been your, because you have, like you always say, you like to keep your ear to the ground. So
I will admit I did not know how tarnished the brand was until now. I usually tell people to keep your head out of the sand. Maybe my head was in the sand on this one. Maybe I did not expect it to be this bad of a fallout because, one, I trust Muschietti. I think there's a lot of outliers with this movie, you know, socially as well as it is within fandom that, you know, people have problems with. You know, it's really been a wake-up call for me that there's a reason why we got the ending we got. This is going to be like a complete hard reboot with everything aside from Peacemaker season 2 and Amanda Waller. Like, everything outside of that in my mind is changing, and that includes Aquaman. Like, I don't know what they're going to do after this movie, but I don't expect this movie to make any money, and I don't expect them to make a third Aquaman movie for a very long time. So it seems to just this thing is deaded. Like, that's it. Like, this is Aquaman. These movies, this slate. Remember the slate of the year of DC, which was supposed to be 2022. Yeah. This is dead man walking. You know, this thing was dead on arrival. This thing, when Batgirl got canceled, we didn't know it, but that was the first domino to fall. That set everything up for no more Keaton, no more this, no more that. We are starting fresh. If they want to claim Blue Beetle as the start, that's fine, because no one's probably going to be in that movie because, I don't know, they probably cut whatever cameos they had. If they want to say it's Superman, like, whatever, but like, I fully expect everything to be a whole lot different when when we get to James Gunn's debut.
I knew as soon as Gunn came in that it was going to be I know there was some politics and PR, that you had films coming out So you couldn't.
You had to
but
say the right things.
You had to say the right thing. You just like Affleck.
Because they still want these movies to make money, though. Like these movies finance the next movies, right? Like that's how it works.
No one at Warner Brothers wanted the Flash to fail like this.
Yeah, this is embarrassing for them.
Yes, but only did they lose money. It hurts what's coming down the line, even though it's a brand new thing. So let's get to that. The future of DC on film, or let's dust this one off. Old Ladkoff, huh? Ladkoff.
Yes, there it is.
This is one thing I never really agreed with you with.
They should have went with that. Live action DC on film, Ladkoff. It's a word. You can't even. DCU's not even a word. You can use Ladkoff.
I believe they're using it on the box set for their 10 film collection. I believe it was on the side of the box. No, DC Extended Universe. I believe they finally went with it.
Yeah,
I think they're shipping all of those collections damaged too, just to be poetic.
All right, future of DC on film, the new DC on film, the new DCU under James Gunn, Peter Safran. What would you do? Well, I'm going to tell you two things, and y'all can discuss. This is not going to happen. So if you're listening, I'm well aware that neither of these two things I'm going to say I would do, they're going to do. Okay. Number one, I would push Superman Legacy and everything else back. We're 2 years out from Superman Legacy. They're going to start filming next year. I'd push it back I'd go back 3 years, if not 5. Honestly, I would. And let there be some breathing room. You still have Matt Reeves, with his thing and whatnot. And then I am not going to do the shared universe thing again. I'm just making the best DC. I'm doing what several people, including this director who has a big movie coming out next month, who used to be at Warner Brothers and now is doing this movie for Universal, said years ago, a decade ago, right about that time when things really went off the frickin' cliff for DC on film. You got a great IP, strong IP in DC. Make the best DC films you can with the best filmmakers. Don't try to connect all this stuff. Don't do what Marvel's doing, because it's just DC is different than Marvel, and you want to be different. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'd make Superman Legacy, and I'd make it a straight up freaking Superman film, the best it possibly can be. I wouldn't have any cameos. I wouldn't have any freaking, trinkets and breadcrumbs of what's coming next. None of that bullshit. I just, make a damn good Superman movie. That's it. That's what I got. So discuss.
All right, I'm with an episode. Good talk. Let's do some plugs.
I think you should push it back even farther. I think I think you need to create. I think that was the problem with BVS, was it was too close to the Nolan trilogy. People weren't really ready to accept a new Batman, and then they didn't like the movie, so then they just didn't care about anything that came after it. And then basically it's been 7 years of struggling. I think you kind of people need to forget to forgive. They need a specific amount of time. I don't know if the 7 years between Batman and Robin and Begins is the proper amount, but if you're just it just seems the way that the audience is kind of tired with this stuff, and especially mediocre characters. It seems that Shazam didn't sell well, Black Adam didn't sell well, the third Ant-Man didn't sell well, Guardian seems to be the outlier. You kind of need these A-listers, and then you throw Batman and the Flash, and that doesn't even work. So you're kind of wondering, what do you need to do here to stay fresh and relevant? And if you're going to just copy the MCU, I think you're totally doing the wrong thing. You tried to do that the last 10 years. You couldn't do it. So therefore you're going to try to do it again. If you just want to make standalone films, that's a great idea, because no one else is doing it right now. Everything's so connected. And it seems that the only shared universe that works is Marvel's. Remember Dark Universe? That didn't work. Transformers rebooted. It's just, it seems to be that the only people who can do it right are the Marvel people. So why do you try to do it? Because you failed the last 10 years. Why do you keep trying to replicate that failure? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
I don't either. Wait
until the Batman's done, and then you can start off with his gun stuff, because I actually think it's too soon, because then you got wait till Superman and Lois is done. I don't know. That show's still around. It's just, no one wants to see this stuff really outside of Reeves.
That's
Batman,
the bottom
right?
line. That's the bottom line. Lauer?
I don't know when. So just for me in thinking about it, I don't know when you come back with a Superman movie. I do think you attempt because it's Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know when. So 2025 in July, I'm not really going to say whether I think that's too soon or too far away. I don't know. I'll judge when we start to see stuff that's confirmed on whether I think this looks good or doesn't. James Gunn, I do think James Gunn is a quality filmmaker, and I think he's going to make a quality film, period. What I think, what I a little bit more have more thoughts on and a more stern about is the fact of DC tried to replicate Marvel. Marvel went solo heroes building up to the group hero film. And so DC wanted that, but how did they do it? They went group hero film first. I didn't necessarily think that was a bad idea because it is a different way of trying to get there than Marvel
I'm with
did.
you. I'm with you on
I just
that.
don't think it worked, period.
It didn't work
So
because
then
the movie wasn't good. That's the bottom line. And yeah,
exactly.
And y'all like the movie. Okay.
Mhm.
You too.
Very much.
I hate the movie. So it's not like, we're all here shitting on BVS and the DCEU.
No, the
Pete and I
consensus
are
is
fans.
it's not a good movie. Like people don't enjoy it.
But you both will admit, because you have on this show,
Hell yeah. I liked it.
You
still
like it, but
I
get the
recognize
fact the general audience did not like that movie.
Yeah, and to which then had ramifications of then you went to a solo movie with Wonder Woman, which did work. And
Outlier.
then you went to and then you went to a Justice League movie that basically like not people didn't see. Yes, you could say it made money, blah, 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 blah. So now it's like, okay, well, what do you take as a lesson from that? You still you tried this way to be different from Marvel. Well, then the only way to be different from Marvel still is to just do solo superhero movies. That's what gets you different. Marvel has done the connected stuff for now over 10 years. Things run out of steam eventually, and I'm not saying Marvel is run out of steam or something. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm like, this is how you can be different and give people something different is standalone. Just focus on it's a Superman movie. Don't worry about talking about Themyscira, Amazons, a Hawkman, Gotham. Nope. Metropolis and Smallville, Kansas. Those are the locations that should be talked about in a Superman movie, and leave it there. Then focus from there another standalone Superman movie. I just think that it just seems so obvious to me that that's the direction you should go. Really
Superman
feel like
has
that's how
so
it should
many
go
characters that you don't have to include Wonder Woman. You don't need Batman. John Henry Irons, from Kara Zor-El to Lana Lang to Bibbo, like Superman has other side characters around him in Metropolis that you can use. There are super beings in Metropolis that you don't need to fly Diana from Themyscira into Superman Legacy to hype up whatever. Why don't you hype up a Steel movie and have that spin out of Superman? Like that, does that make too much sense? I don't know. Like that's something different. We haven't seen Steel since Shaq. I think people wouldn't mind a new fresh superhero in town. Let's be brutally honest.
Yeah. I would,
that's the biggest missed opportunity Man of Steel is they couldn't find a way to spin off a Steel movie.
What caught me off guard here, I read this recently, I think it was a Hollywood Reporter talking about the status of the casting for Superman Legacy, and also, and I read this before, but it was mentioned in that the Authority is in Superman Legacy, and Superman will enter when Superman enters the war. When he comes, Superman appears for the first time. He's entering a world where there already were other superheroes. What I don't know. I always kind of think, Superman should be the first one because that's how it was in the comics, but whatever. But it already seems like to me, they're like, okay, we're going to have the Authority in this because we're going to have an Authority film. So we got to have them in this. I could
care less about the Authority film.
I don't even know what the Authority is. I thought they were the other ones that they did an animated movie on a couple of years ago.
And that's where I want to
try.
I definitely want to try and avoid that because there's a consistency in when something's announced and people say, was anybody asking for it? And then it becomes a hit and people love it and people forget that they used to say, was anybody asking for it? And
Peacemaker.
if we
Yeah.
never got stuff that we didn't ask for, we wouldn't get a lot of things we enjoy. So the Authority, I have no knowledge on the Authority, but they're going to be in Superman Legacy. I'm like, well, it's a Superman film. Like, focus on Superman. I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
They're not even really DC characters. Like they're Wildstorm
Wildstorm,
characters.
aren't they?
So I don't know if this is like a favor to Jim Lee or what, but like I just like I don't know why we're going to the Authority. I don't know
What's
why.
the what was that
Look,
group?
Here's the
that
thing:
they
I
did
didn't
the
even see
animated
Guardians
film
3 because
on?
I don't care about them. You know, like I'm not going to see
Yeah.
this movie because I really don't care about these characters. I already don't. I own one Authority book, and that's because my mother bought it at a thrift store on a vacation. She got me a gift, and that was it. That's the only reason.
The Elite. That's it. I kept. Remember that animated film?
That's a
Superman
great movie,
and the
by the way.
Elite?
Superman
great
versus the
anime.
Elite. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good movie.
Truth,
I,
Justice, and the American Way.
Okay, that's who I thought
That's
the
the book.
freaking Authority was. So whatever.
Whatever
I had no
happened to
clue
Truth,
what they
Justice, and
were,
American Way.
and I don't know why they're in the Superman movie.
I don't
Whatever.
Because James
But
Gunn thinks they're his guardians.
But that's not going to make me angry. It's just like, just thinking about it here is kind of like, well, I kind of, as Pete just said, I don't care about them. Make me care about them for a movie of their own. Don't force them on me. And I'm going to see Superman. Don't force this other stuff on me with that.
doesn't that
I
feel
don't want to
very
have to
much
worry
like,
about their stuff.
like, hey, we're a connected universe. Here's the Authority. Guess what's coming? The Authority's going to have their own movie. Yeah, here we go. We're connected. Did I say we're connected? If I didn't, I'm going to say it again. We're all connected. It's all connected, Ryan Lauer.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. It's like that. Well, you have to, if you're going to do a 25 years of BS, you should also do 25 years of figuring out how it's all connected t-shirt as well. Maybe a couple fewer words, but it's all connected.
I don't know. Like, I don't know
trying to
why
figure
having
out
all
how
this
it's all
stuff connected is such
Yeah.
a big deal. Like, I really don't. Like, I never once, like, I don't read Batman Monthly to hope that Green Lantern pops up in the book.
Exactly.
Like, I would
Okay.
read Justice League for that. You know,
Explain.
like, I don't read the.
I mean, I was going to ask you all to explain it to me because I don't. What is this like? We see it in the Facebook group. I mean, of course, you see it on Twitter and stuff, social media. This strong. I've got to. It has to all connect. It has to be a shared universe. You know, Superman has to exist. If I watch a
Because
Batman
people want to see their
movie.
action figures collide. That's why. I don't know. Like,
Well,
I don't.
then they should just go to their living room and dump them all in the middle.
That's
You
what I
know,
tell
a great
Justin. Just
crossover.
ask Ollie to borrow the toys, and you got your shared universe. It's right there.
Yeah.
You know, and like I
don't get it. I don't get it.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
get it.
But like, don't get me wrong, like I do appreciate fan service. So then when the CW does throw it all together and I see Burt Ward on Channel 11, I get a smile on my face. Like I do. When I see George Reeve in the Flash movie, I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Nick Cage. So like I can't say I don't enjoy the fan service and all this bullshit that comes with all this connected stuff. But at the same time, like I don't really want to see the Flash pop up in a Batman movie, but I do enjoy Flashpoint. Like I get it. It makes sense because Flashpoint I do love as a story. But like I know going into that, it's I don't know.
I don't
it doesn't bother me, but
I always pose the question is like you can't watch Superman Legacy without some sort of cameo or a mention of Batman or Wonder Woman or Aquaman or whoever. I mean, do you have to go see it to know something else is coming later? I just don't. Can't you just enjoy a Superman film or a Wonder Woman film or an Aquaman film or whatever, just for it being that's what it is and that's all it is?
I used to like those little Easter eggs, you know, like when Superman Returns, they mentioned Gotham, Batman and Robin, they mentioned Superman. Like it was kind of like I used to like that stuff a lot until like recently.
Until it became real.
Let's stop for just a moment for these words from our sponsor. Look, I've never once said stop making DC films. I have said, and I'm back on this bandwagon, banging a drum about, stop it with the shared universe thing. Come on, just make good DC films. So a lot of people take it as, they're going to make DC films. Well, yeah, make DC films. Yes, there should be another Superman film. It's Superman, for Pete's sake, no pun intended. But I push it back. I make it its own thing. But this is the third attempt in just a little less than 20 years, they've tried a new incarnation of Superman. Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and now Superman Legacy. If this pulls, I say it's got to be, they have to have realistic box office expectations for one thing.
It's not going to make $1 billion. They got to readjust.
No, and
at most it'll make like 600.
It has to do well critically, and it has to do well with the general audience. The buzz has to be positive, because if you get the reaction like more so Man of Steel was negative coming out of the reaction was more negative coming out of Man of Steel than it was for Superman Returns, but Superman Returns didn't do all that great either. Two things. Is there something just about Superman that people are just kind of like, not really interested in that? Because you're on your third go now, And
that's why I think the gap needs to be longer. I don't think the 2025 is far enough away.
I'm with you on that. Lauer?
He's thinking.
Shrugging my shoulders. Like I don't know. I can't answer either way, because I know I'm going to be there most likely. July
I'll be there.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Because you can say that Superman hasn't. When was the last time Superman himself really suited up, was on the big screen, actual person on the big screen? Black Adam, but not many people went and saw Black Adam, and it was an added cameo at the last second. Prior to that, it was 5 years earlier in Justice League, and people didn't necessarily see that. So, and then it was a year and a half before that people did go see it, and then people didn't like. So, I mean, you're coming up on, I don't know, there's some distance. I don't know. It's just, we'll see how the move, like what James Gunn is building.
Yeah, but I feel like you need to forget the Snyderverse. Like, it needs to be forgotten by the general audience. Like, I still think that movie, with the Flash being so connected, it seems to be even a worse idea. Connecting that movie to Man of Steel so much, because it seems that like people are like, well, we didn't like this 10 years ago. What makes you think we're gonna like this now? Even though it's that's different.
It's not me pushing of like it needs to be July 2020. I clearly will flat out say I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm glad that next year is the Joker sequel, and that's it. Like, I actually am kind of glad that there's no other DC stuff, because that is at least like, that's a whole year. That's at least a good break, I think. And beyond that, I have no clue. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have the Penguin on Max, but not as far as movies. Yeah, that's it, right?
If they want to do connected stuff like that, that's cool. Like, if somehow out of Superman Legacy comes, like, I don't know, this Cat Grant journalist TV show, like, all right, fine, so be it. Like, if they want to connect the characters like what they're doing with the Batman, I think that's a good idea.
Oh, I think that would be great.
That's a good, TV is a good avenue for that.
You know, like each
streaming,
movie,
etc.
Like, at one point, they said each thing was going to have like a streaming companion. Like, I don't know if that was a Hamada idea or whatnot, because it seems like it was so long ago, but I kind of like that idea. That's the kind of connective tissue I think that is different, but it's still kind of expanding on the world. Fans get a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if it's good, then the Penguin, and it's actually like using the Batman Penguin as an example, that creates tremendous buzz going into the Batman 2, because you have a really good movie, you have a really good TV show, and I could just see that kind of gaining momentum that way.
Yeah.
That's the kind of connective stuff I think they should focus on.
Yeah, I would be all for that. Having, they got this, isn't the Green Lantern thing a Max?
Yeah, well,
I don't think that's I don't think that's happening.
Or is that gone? I mean,
I think that's gone. I think that's long gone.
Didn't they announce it was part of the Gunn's announcement was Lanterns?
It is so, that's another thing too. Like, they are so afraid of Green Lantern. Like, any chance they get, they immediately get the chance to back out of that. Green Lantern frightens them. I'm thoroughly convinced they are terrified of Green Lantern. Absolutely terrified. They have no idea what they're doing with Green Lantern. I 100% believe that.
Well, I can't disagree. I think
that, and they think it's overall, I think when it comes down to it, it's just too damn expensive. It's crazy to me that
And that's what I think.
You can make a Star Wars movie,
Yeah.
but you can't make a Green Lantern.
Well, let's talk about Batman on film, not the
Okay.
website, but literally Batman on film. We are all pretty, I think we're all in agreement that it's in pretty good shape with, you had the Batman made almost $800
This one is
million. It has its own little universe. You've had a prequel novel, or they call it was a kid's novel, but I liked it a lot. But still, it's part of the universe. You have the old Batman Saga. You have the Penguin coming on Max. You've got the Batman Part 2 coming in 2025. So Batman is proving to be, people like Batman. Look, I mean, I know Pete mentioned BBS Batman coming too soon after the Dark Knight trilogy, but Pattinson Batman popped up even when there were other Batmans still out there,
but no,
and the movie kicked ass.
That's the thing.
And yeah,
the
and here's
Pattinson
the
Batman
thing.
caught the eye, and the Ben Affleck Batman didn't.
Here's the thing: is that exactly the Batman was good, had good word of mouth, had strong legs, and it got reviewed well. So that Batman is in good shape. Batman on film, live action Batman on film. With that, so
LaBeouf.
Brave and the Bold. Yeah.
LaBeouf. Yeah.
That's it. I'm writing it down. That's a t-shirt. LaBeouf. Okay. Yes. BOF. Celebrating LaBeouf for 25 years, huh?
Yeah.
The Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking now there should be two Batmans at the same time. I think you should push that one. I know there's not a date on the Brave and the Bold, but I would, if it was me, I would introduce the DCU Batman after the Batman saga. It wraps up.
James Gunn's announcement said back in January was what do you say? This is chapter 1 or something of the story, something like that. And he said that'll take us up to 2027. And Brave and the Bold was included in that announcement. So I just put it together of, okay, then they're planning at least by 2027, Brave and the Bold is going to come out.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves is the Batman Part 3, if that's even happening. Most likely will not be out by 2027, meaning that there will be 2 at the same time. I've already texted Bill about this, but I don't think that should happen.
I agree.
It's similar to you, Bill, I'm not one that says don't make DC movies. I say make good DC movies. The people will come. I will come. As long as Batman is in good shape, then anything else is just gravy for me.
Okay. That's
my passion.
I'm with you there, 100%.
My passion is with Batman always. I don't want his brand to be tarnished. And I feel, unfortunately, as much as we regarded Keaton, his brand has been tarnished now a little bit.
That's my next question. Does this film
the most recent stuff? Because, and by that I don't mean that nothing can detract the love for him in '89. Many love him in Returns. The conversation it's gonna pop up now. Oh, but the Flash, and there's some stank on the Flash.
Can I say this? And just kind of,
it's your show, so I think you can say whatever you want.
I'll say this. I want to bring this into what you're talking about, because I want to hear what y'all think. Got an email from a friend of mine who's in the business. I won't say what specific part of the business he's in. And he did not like the Flash and was really upset with how they handled Keaton as Batman, and said flat out that it just shits on everything that he did in Batman 89 and with Tim Burton. And I was like, wow, at first, and then I'm like, you have a point. I've freely admitted 100%. I've said, I think I let the nostalgia of Keaton returning kind of really impact my initial view of the movie. I mean, to be honest, Keaton's doing things as Batman that I don't particularly like. He's running around with superheroes and superpowered beams and fighting aliens. Of course, he did die, which was exactly what would happen. Is why Batman shouldn't be around that. So that's another conversation. But anyway, has this impacted Keaton's legacy as Batman, or did not enough people see it, speaking of the general audience, to have any impact on it whatsoever? Howard, go ahead, because I interrupted you. Sorry.
I don't know that Keaton's losing sleep over it. Probably, like, it was a job, he did it, and he's an actor, he's a busy guy, he's on to his next project. I think you have a point in that. Did it really impact if people just aren't seeing the movie? I think that's very fair for us fans who do talk about it. That's where the stink of the Flash is attached to it now. For you, Bill, it might be that he's like, there's two stinks attached because you didn't like Returns. And then the Flash of what has happened with the Flash is another element to it. So, I mean, I don't know.
But I like Keaton in Returns. That's kind of my disclaimer there. That
so Keaton's
like
at least been consistent.
Yes,
in that regard. Yeah. So I don't
think
know.
He's consistent in the Flash as well, to be honest with you.
I don't know how much like a tarnish. I just think that it's attachment, like a negative aura is attached now to Michael Keaton playing Batman.
Because in my fan mind, I can say, okay, for one, I can say this is my fan mind talking. I can go, well, he's kind of not really the Batman of 89. This was one of those spaghetti noodle things, and kind of a variant of that timeline. And then that timeline was eliminated, destroyed. So none of that really happened. You know what I mean? So I can just say, okay, none of that happened. He's still there. Batman 89 is the real Keaton.
I've asked a few people this, and they've always said no. They always say it doesn't, because they think Keaton's very good in the movie as well, and they enjoy the movie for itself. So it's interesting though, but I kind of feel disappointed at fans, to be honest. Like, Keaton's Batman should be pretty beloved for what he did with the character, what that movie did. Between that and Superman the movie, the genre was created, and we are where we are now because of those two. Like, I'm kind of disappointed that people aren't attached to Keaton's Batman because of what that character and what that movie stands for, that version. Like that. I'm actually a little disappointed. Like, how did people not get really into this? Like, Christian Bale wouldn't have saved this movie. I've heard people say that. Jeffrey Dean Morgan definitely wouldn't have saved this movie. I think this was going to be the outcome.
I can just go by this. I overestimated a lot how much people were looking forward to seeing Keaton return as Batman, because so I let my fandom get in the way. Like Micah, my son Micah and Jake, they couldn't care less about Keaton returning. It doesn't mean, like, Micah's really kind of more of a Batman guy than Jake, but or more consistent everyday fan. But he's just like, it just didn't mean anything to me, because that was, I wasn't even born when Batman 89 came out. So I get it. I'm like, okay, that's fair. I get it.
But aren't these guys like doing their research? Aren't they watching these movies? Like, or are they just watching the things that came out within the last 10 years? Like, is that like, for me, like, when I get into this, I mean, I still rewatch 66. I watched the George Reeves Superman. Like, it's not a heavy rotation, but like I'm watching this stuff. Like, how are people?
We're a different level of fandom. That's that's our bubble, man.
Yeah,
I'm in a bubble too. It's different.
But even people who have like podcasts and stuff, I was surprised at how many people in our bubble did not really like get hyped up for Keaton's return. And I just, some people
how old
took
are they?
them. I mean, I've talked to people much younger than me, within their 20s.
Yeah, if you're in your 20s or in your early 30s, I just think it was not a big deal.
That's just the first like real cinematic dark gloomy Batman comes back after 30 years. Like you think that's like a fanboy's wet dream, like something he's been wanting.
I lived it. That's why it's I was there. I was 23 years old. When it
I was
happened.
3
I lived
89, and this resonates with me.
And that's why it's such a big deal to me. But it's not a big deal to a lot of people.
Because I would have been. I know from my experience, like I would have been just as hyped if it was Bale returning. Like there would have been no level of hype difference for me for the movie, regardless of who the Batman was. They could honestly they could have put Clooney out, nipples and all, and I would have been just as excited for that movie. Like
Lauer does.
I don't get it.
Is having Keaton and Affleck showing up as Batman just a year after the Batman. Is that something maybe in hindsight? Nah, you should have probably not had any more Batmans at this point. We should have just you should focus. I think I don't want to see DCU Batman during Reeves's run. I just don't. I don't think it's a good idea. So is that kind of oversaturated?
I think they're okay because they still have almost 2.5 years. And we won't see another Batman on film until October 2025.
Yeah.
At this moment, that's what it's, that's the date. So I think that it's okay. I don't think you insert something between that, which I don't think it's not going to. And then after the part 2, I guess we'll see how successful the Batman part 2 is. If it's super successful, then I will be more passionate in that you don't do a DCU Batman until post part 3. If it doesn't, I don't know, in middle of the road, I just kind of across the board, I don't think that.
Let me ask y'all this. Say the Batman does the Batman part 2, it does just about like the Batman, maybe makes a little more because you're going to have, it's coming from the Batman and then the Penguin. Say it does a little bit better. Maybe not $1 billion, but 800 something, maybe close to 900. It's a critical hit. And Warner Brothers DC Studios shut it down because they got the Brave and the Bold coming, and they don't want, anything overshadowing that because they had, they're having their shared universe, and this kind of plays into Pete's belief of he's like this Elseworld is just a placeholder, until they finish. So I would be livid if that was the case personally.
I want to see what they do with Joker 3.
You shit can something successful because you got to have your shared universe. That
doesn't make any sense to me.
I would or at that point I might just say, F it, throw in the towel.
We'll see. I'm curious. I want to see what Feige has taught Gunn. I want to see what Gunn has picked up from that company.
But you know what? I don't want any of that with DC. I don't want,
No, I get it, but I want to, but they're not the same person, so he's not going to do it exactly the same way. He's going to do it the James Gunn way, and I don't know how to judge that until I see something. I can only kind of think about like how he's a different person. He's a little bit, Gunn's a little bit more on the edge than Feige. I think Feige fits within that Disney mold with what they want to do. Gunn's going to push the envelope a little bit more. He's going to be a little bit more violent. He's going to be a little bit more, raunchy, probably. Like, I think somewhere in the lines of what we saw between Suicide Squad and Peacemaker will ultimately be the tone of the DCU.
It doesn't
that
sound
might not
like
be what people like.
Superman Legacies. It's like Superman Legacies going back to Superman the movie vibe, you know? Remember, just like Superman is Clark Kent, good old country boy from Kansas, farm boy, super optimistic and all that. We're going to that type of deal. So
we'll see. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like what they set up at the end of Man of Steel and everything. We just kind of got washed under.
Yeah, it was. That's another conversation we've had many times. Well, suffice to say, other than Batman, fingers crossed at this moment, right now, they have their work cut out for them. No, over there at in Burbank.
This is the biggest job James Gunn's ever going to take in his life,
because it's like it's not coming off the Flash, and we still they may just pile on with the Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 may just do terribly, and that'd just be like piling on to the misery, because you still want them to do well. But it's like, even with that, it's not like you got a hill to climb. They got freaking Mount Everest to climb. That's how daunting this task is.
They're trying to climb a ladder to the moon. Like, that's what they're trying to do right now, and they don't have no harness. I don't know how they do this. I'm like, it's at the point right now where I'm like wondering, do they regret taking this job? They look at it now and they look at the work that got cut out for them. I know they only got they got a short contract. They have a 10-year plan, but they only got like a 5-year contract. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it past year 3. Because I just
what if Warner Brothers? What if they sell? What if Warner Brothers is sold again?
That's another thing they're talking about. Who knows? Like, we saw what happened from Hamada to DeLuca to Abdi, which was the shortest regime in history, to James Gunn.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's you can put on the side of why you don't try to do this massive plan of interconnectivity, because any of these plans, they don't survive regimes. They haven't survived regimes, and it's always
movies
just been
get canceled.
It's been course correcting, and it doesn't. And it's not like the headlines everywhere that the general audience is aware of are specific. Oh yeah, so and so is out. This one's taken in, which is going to affect the current plans of DC films. No, instead it's Warner Brothers dicked up again. When it's like, well, it's hard to stick with a plan when you constantly have people coming in and changing it. So therefore, if
everyone thinks they know better,
if you just have a movie that standalone, it's its own thing. The creative teams, and it's really funny to me. It does seem as if like many people say, like, believe in the same thing. Let creatives create, and yet somehow that gets muddied up all the time. And it's so funny to me, because it just seems like everybody's on the same page, but somehow nobody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, it's because at some point they were trying to save their ass.
Which I get. Like, man, I kind of curious, like Gunn and Safran, if there's any, conversations the past week and a half, if there's been, what kind of conversations have been happening that have put restraints or not course correction, because that's not a strong enough term. But what has been advised that they have to now change? What audibles, if any, you know what I mean? Like, what are those conversations now?
I think it would be very easy to say, okay, let's don't beat the shared universe thing over the head. Make Superman Legacy the best you possibly can, and have it be just a Superman movie. And let's do that to the next movie, do the same thing, and let's see where this goes. Let's see where it goes. I think once you start interconnecting stuff, I mean, like you have this Elite and Superman Legacy, and then they got a movie coming up. I mean, you're already, what if Superman Legacy just is an utter flop? Well, you're effed, man. That whole thing is effed. Instead of, it's not connected to anything, so we'll just move to the next. So I don't. It's like,
I'll give James Gunn credit. This is he took the 2 biggest jobs of his life, and his career is riding on it.
Yeah.
Nice, fine.
Well,
he's fine right now. He's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's let's be honest, you can never have enough money. Everybody's greedy. So this is a tall task, man. I'm glad he believes in himself. There's confidence there that he's taking on this job, and he's gonna, the first film right out of the gate, he's writing it, he's directing it, he's shepherding the whole thing. He's got a lot of confidence in himself, and I hope it reeks through the pages, and people just really enjoy his take, because
I am
everybody. God
pulling,
forbid he puts trunks on Superman, people are going to freak out.
Yeah, I'm pulling for them to be successful.
I hope so.
I'm pulling for that movie to be successful. I'm just being a realist. I think things are dire, and it has, you can hope all you want, and you can say I believe in James Gunn all you want. I'm a James Gunn fan, but I'm also sitting here saying I just saw what, it's been a decline. You just had the Flash utter bomb. The DC brand. I have people tell me the DC brand is dead, except for Batman. And
can he be held? He can't be held responsible for any of this, right? Like,
no,
not until Legacy,
no.
right? Like, he's kind of like, this is kind of like on easy street until then.
I mean, if Superman Legacy is reviewed well, and the general audience likes it, but overall they just don't go see it because they're not interested in DC stuff.
I think that's
Batman.
A huge problem.
That's not his fault. That's all the shit that came before him. It had nothing to do with him.
We'll see.
So we'll see. Exactly. We will find out. But this being a Batman site, and us being we're all Batman fans first and foremost, I think, I'm not sitting here with any kind of smirk, like I'm a Batman fan, F Superman and F, Green Lantern or whoever else. I want them all to do well. But it does feel there is at least we know the Batman's coming, Batman Part 2, and we got the Penguin, and hope, the Saga, and Matt Reeves is doing something really, really good, really great, special with
I'll
Batman
tell you this.
right now.
Earlier I said Warner Brothers is afraid of the Green Lantern. I think after this, Warner Brothers is going to be terrified of the Flash. I don't think you won't see a Flash show. You won't see a Flash movie for at least 30 years. They may talk about it. They may hype up something, but you won't see. This is going to be one of those things where they're like, no, we can't do that again. Because that's the way it's been with Green Lantern ever since Ryan Reynolds. So I wouldn't expect to see anything Flash anytime soon.
Yep.
So those 9 seasons of CW shows you guys all hate, it's reviewed a lot better. Remember that.
Hey, I've watched The Flash, and then it lost me about season 4 and never watched it again. But
it continued on for how many more?
I think it was 27
no losses
years
there, people. Well, where are my CW haters at? Holzman.
There are I would say there's not many CW haters because hardly anybody watched it.
Well, enough watched it that didn't need to get canceled. At least the Flash did.
Yes. How about that? I'm even go down this
Gotham Knights. Let me tell you about Gotham Knights.
I'm not going down
things over there.
This rabbit hole of CW.
Oh, Gotham Knights.
All right,
let me
Lauer.
Might be some of the best Harvey Dent stuff since the Lego Batman
Lauer.
movie.
If you want to hear Pete talk about Gotham Knights, just tune into his podcast, Straight Out of Gotham. As for me, you can listen to my podcast, The Batman Book Club, wherever you hear your podcasts, also on Batman on Film, because Bill generously posts every episode on the website. Most recent one is talking Batman Beyond the White Knight, which BOF has a history with White Knight because 2 podcasts last year I got to talk to the man himself, Sean Murphy. So track those down also on BOF. This month also I have White Knight Generation Joker #2 review up, as well as Batman 136. So all that stuff's on batman-on-film.com. You heard of it? 25 years of bullshit.
All right, Pete.
Which is what my reviews are too. Utter bullshit.
Yes. 5th grade book reports, I call it.
This book good, pictures fun, color.
Follow me on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, LiveJournal, MySpace, AIM, all your social media platforms.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, I think you're going down bullshit avenue, Pete.
Yeah, Bureau, which is Zack Snyder's favorite. At Pete Illustrated. I have 2 podcasts. You can follow Straight Outta Gotham, which is straight_O_G on both Instagram and Twitter. That's a news-based podcast. And then I have a Spider-Man podcast, Italians for Spidey, on Twitter. So check that out as well. Good stuff over there, the Italian Spider-Man Coalition. I have reviews on BatmanOnFilm.com and Batman on Film YouTube. That's fun stuff. I got a review that I'm going to email Bill for Detective Comics 1073.
Get on it.
Yeah, everyone's really been loving that story so far.
People are waiting to see.
Yeah. So, I'm all over BOF and BOF.com. So I'm over there and read my stuff. I got interviews with Michael Uslan and stuff. So read that stuff because it's positive Batman talk.
You were in the house.
I was.
Of the great Michael Uslan.
I saw his book collection. It's very impressive.
That's right.
I know. It was amazing. So that's
all those extras on the Batman anthology that came out in 2005, interviewing Michael Uslan. You were there, Peter.
I literally was in the house. I met his lovely wife. It was beautiful.
This reminded me, I have something I have to do to review that I've kind of slipped my mind over the weekend. I sent something to y'all. It's something coming on Max about the history of DC.
No, yeah.
And I got a screener. I gotta get on that. All right, because you talking about Michael doing the documentaries and the bonus features. All right, Batman on Film. Just go to Batman on Film, batman-on-film.com. With that, announcer Rachel will finish up here, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official vlog and podcast on Batman on Film. Follow Jett on Twitter @BatmanOnFilm. Follow the BOF newsfeed on Twitter @The Batman on Film. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, established in 1998.